Hello, everybody. How you guys doing out there? What's the word? How you doing? How you feeling? How are things on your side of the room? I'm asking that because, as you guys know, I am Solar Gray, the Cinematic Sorcerer, and welcome to the Dark Side of the Room. This is the show where we talk a whole bunch of nerd stuff. That's right, we are nerds, we are geeks, we are gamers, we are freaks, we're all those other things. That stuff that they make shows about and all that stuff. Y'all watch them Stranger Things? Well, that's us. That's the stuff that we've been doing. And just trying to get situated in here, trying to make sure everybody is here and that we're having a decent time. Looks like we've got a decent amount of people in here today, and I am super happy about that. And I do like our new time slot. I can get a whole lot of stuff. Whoa, man. All right, so yeah, we're talking 5:07 in the morning in Johannesburg. And it's good to see that my South African friends are here again, and I'm really happy. So yeah, this is gonna be our new time for most of the days of the week. Just because it is summer, it is Southern California, and in the immortal words of Samuel L. Jackson, no, not MFer, but it's hot. Oh my God, it has been sweltering in here. Okay, like I'm a little shiny right now, but yeah, I looked like the caricature of every sloppy fat guy from every 80s teen comedy for most of the day, and I spend a good amount of the day in here editing now, so that's kind of a thing. Let me know if the color on the chat is a little obnoxious. I like it in yellow, but what can I say? A lot of times people are like, well, that, and I'm like, all right, fine, whatever. Anyway, welcome to the Dark Side of the Room, where we talk about nerd stuff. And today, we have a lot of stuff coming down, okay? A lot of stuff coming down, but let me just get to it. Today, we are going to be talking about combat theory in TTRPGs. What does that mean? Well, that comes down to not just how to fight and how to max out your character for top efficiencies, but what fighting actually symbolizes in tabletop role-playing games, and how it is just one aspect of the entire hobby, not to mention what we expect when it comes to having a fight in TTRPGs, what we're looking for, how we think, and how a lot of those things could be getting in the way of our own fun. So come on in, and honestly, I did this one especially for you role players out there. Okay, and we are going to get into that, but I got to do that early part of the show thing. So you know what I got to do? It's going to be, hey, what do we got? Well, if you guys got any questions or comments or anything like that, hit me up at backinthedeck@gmail.com. It's BACKINTHEDECK at gmail.com. You can also hit me up on all of those other, y'all know which other ones I'm talking about. We're talking all those other social media, specifically the ones that everyone has and no one, I repeat, nobody likes. And we're talking what is the stuff that everybody's got that no one likes? So well, that stuff is actually known as Instagram and Twitter. You can find me at Back in the Deck. You can also check out the Discord that I just put an invitation for into the chat, both on YouTube and right here on Twitch. Now, this is also the time where I'm like, all right, guys, we got stuff that we got to do. So, like, subscribe, like the channel, subscribe to the channel if you're watching this on YouTube. Share the videos, guys. Like, seriously, a friend of mine brought me in to the HBO. That's not the cable channel and the producer of really cool television shows. It's the Help a Brother Out Fund. And that means help a brother out by subscribing, following, sharing the stuff. All right. We do have other ways that you can support the channel, such as donations, such as Patreon, because you know the patrons are always awesome. And when I say the patrons are always awesome, that means I have a few tiers, and yeah, they get kind of expensive. I'll be fixing that this week. But major shouts out to Laura Holden, Shaylee Watson, Jennifer Kroll, Noel Olheiler. It was good to see you this weekend. Glenn Couch, Christopher Chalmers, and Joseph Hines. All right, those are my royalty tier patrons, starting at $20 a month to really help out with the community outreach and stuff. Hopefully, the Eastside Riders get back to me, and we'll be able to set up an event together so that essentially the Eastside Riders, and I'll talk about them later on this week, it's an organization in Watts and Compton that teaches kids how to maintain bicycles, and they go for rides and stuff. And I'm like, well, if you're going for a ride, hit me up at this community center and we could play with some action figures and tell some stories. So that'd be kind of cool. And of course, one other thing I've got to show you guys, and I mean this wholeheartedly, is we finally got them merches in. What? Yes, that's right. We got them merchandise all the way in. We got t-shirts. We got a bunch of different things. And when I talk about a bunch of different things, I'm literally talking like, boom, t-shirts. We got Lil Saul. We even got Wizard Saul. And yeah, this guy is pretty awesome. I like that very much. And again, thanks to TeePublic helping me out with this stuff, you can get the coffee mugs and the magnets and all of these designs as well. All right, we got the regular Back on the Deck coffee mug, the Lil Saul the Wizard coffee mug, the Lil Saul gives you a hug coffee mug, and we got them in blue and white and a dark gray. All right, and we also have notebooks, y'all. Notebooks for those of you guys that do keep the notes on, you know, your games and stuff like that. Look at all that. You know, we got the little white notebook and with the logo and Lil Saul and the other Lil Saul and the wizard's hat and all that stuff, even in those places that like to call me Gandalf the Black. Okay, it's just Texas, but y'all know exactly what I'm talking about. So yeah, subscribe to the channel, reach out, get some merch. You know, it's summertime. I know y'all need some tank tops. All right, global warming is real, and so is humidity. So yeah, let's be honest about all that stuff. I want to give a shout out to my folks in the chat right now, like Osupa, Alien Conglomeration. We also got Asuka Mikasa, Elizabeth, Impossible Adventure Club. Ninatella, welcome. I don't think we've met before. Nintendo Switch X1, Sofa King Super. Now that we're on at a later time, I don't have to call you the king of living room furniture. I'm just saying that you are Superman. You are so freaking super. And again, we also have Sophia Fox 21. So thank you guys for being here, and thank you guys for tuning in at this later hour. I know a lot of places around the country, it's like 10 o'clock at night. The only place on the planet where it's earlier on Tuesday than it is right here is Hawaii. Okay, I'm in the third time zone, past the international date line. So whatever's late for me is really late for you guys, and that's how we are going to be going down like that. Hopefully the music is okay. Hopefully we can get all that stuff going, and yeah. So with all that being said, I want to get to it today. Now, we all have different reasons for wanting combat in its various forms, right? I mean, we all got that. You know, you're playing D&D, or you're playing Call of Cthulhu, you're playing Vampire the Masquerade, you're playing Innomine, you're playing Cyberpunk. Especially if you're playing Cyberpunk. After all, you didn't spend all of those credits on that concussive robot fist that uses 12 gauge slugs to not hit somebody with it, right? Right? All right. Yeah. No, we get all that stuff. But this week, and possibly into next week, we'll see how long these episodes are. We are going to get into combat. All right. I'm doing this because that's what most of the YouTube videos and stuff are about. And I'm like, all right, before people are like, why don't you cover action economy or optimization of characters and stuff like that? I'm gonna throw my hat in on this for a little bit to explain to you guys a different way of looking at combat. Now, I'm normally drinking coffee on the air, but like I said, it's hot, so I have my lemonade. Hot, cool, refreshing drink. And if you know, you know. So, let's talk about Dungeons and Dragons. Okay? 5th edition. Zapa. Alright? Now, you spent hours making your character. And if you are a new player, okay, if you're a new player to D&D, you've thought about backstory, what your character is going to be like if you made a charisma-based character like a rogue or a bard, and this person's going to be able to talk their way out of anything, and they'll be able to say a few words, and people will fall hopelessly in obedience with them. Notice I did not say love. And then you're playing the game, you're making your charisma rolls, you're using charm person, you're using friendship, you're using a whole bunch of charisma rolls while being a part of a cadre. Yes, a cadre of adventurous people. And watch all of my elocution as my loquacious nature takes over the gaming table. But then comes that time for everyone else at the table. That one time that you can't talk your way out of it, that you can't bribe, you can't mind control, you fail the roll, you say the wrong thing, and the DM says those two words that people have dedicated hundreds of hours of content to. Those words being, roll initiative. We all know what that means, right? Now it's time to get into a fight. All right. But there's a lot of players that are out there and they're like, I don't know, man. This is the fight thing. I didn't really make this a character for combat. But now you best start believing in combat scenarios. My sweet summer child, you're in one. And what do? All right. Now we could go through things class by class by class by class, right? We could do that. But before we do that, and we might do that this week, but before we get into that, I want to get into why combat is part of the experience. Okay? I talk about the 4 pillars, specifically of D&D, but this accounts to so much of role-playing as a hobby. 4 pillars, okay? Somewhere interesting to go, someone interesting to meet, something interesting to gain by being there, and something interesting to fight. Okay? You got to talk to somebody cool, find out where the monster is, go to where that monster is, get past the traps and all of that stuff, punch them, kick the door in, punch the monster in the face, take its stuff, and take it back to that interesting person. And if you play Shadowrun, that's when you find out that the interesting person that sent you has now double-crossed you, and your characters are all wanted by the law. If you know, you know. All right? But a lot of the times, especially in 5e combat, a lot of people approach combat in 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons. We what is the term? We approach it like it's the only aspect to play. That's it. No more aspects to play, nothing else. We are here to fight. All right? That is what we're doing. That is what we're doing. That is how we're running it. That is it. That is everything that we're going to be doing. And they do this at the expense of almost everything else. As far as doing stuff in game and the rest of the game is. Okay? So, what do I mean by this? Well, we can go through the character classes that are meant to fight. Specifically, the barbarian. You killed my father. You took your sword. And, of course, the sorcerer. No, the fighter. It's called fighter. It's a character class that's built specifically for that particular thing. Oh, wow. Do I want to be famous? Well, by followers, I see you on that SS Emmanuel, and I gotta say, ban. All right, cool. I do not like bots. So, you've got the fighter, and the fighter comes in, and it's like, dude, the fighter is there to fight. But is that the whole of their character? Well, when you're playing a game about storytelling, it's never the whole of a character. Okay? Never the whole of a character. Every character has 3 dimensions, especially in role-playing games. No matter how much a player tries to run their characters as single things like, Grishnak Smash and Bite Thing because he is Grishnak, it doesn't happen very often, and I will tell you why it does not successfully happen. Because Grishnak is played by a person, and no one is one-dimensional. A lot of folks seem like it, but no one is one-dimensional. There's a whole lot to a whole lot of people. All right? So, how do we address this? What do we do? How do we wrap our heads around this? Well, you got to understand the idea. Combat exists in an adventure game for the same reason that action set pieces exist in movies. All right? A good story has a balance of all of those things. All right? Now, if your character doesn't have a balance of all those things, what do you do? There is a long-standing trope, and I guess you can say private joke amongst grognards, that bards suck, And why is it that bards suck? Well, this is a really big thing. Now, you guys hear me talk about this a whole lot, and that is 1, expectation. What do we expect out of a combat when we go into combat on a role-playing table? All right? Yeah, I mean, seriously, what do we expect? Now, I'll tell you, a lot of new players, okay, a whole lot of new players, and by new, I mean players that have been playing for less than 3 years at this point, they have an interesting idea. They created their character with something really cool in mind. And if you're not new to the channel, you've heard me talk about this a lot, okay? And that newness, that thing to the channel, or that thing that they've created their character around, is a concept of one of their favorite fictitious characters, okay, at the level that they are within the fiction, all right? I want to make a Jedi. I'm thinking Luke Skywalker, and he's flipping and lifting stuff, and except when you start at first level, you're not redeeming Vader. You're not looking at Jabba going, you will bring Captain Solo and the Wookiee to me. Nope. When you first start off, you want to go to Tashi Station and pick up some power converters. The lightsaber is coming. The Jedi powers is coming, but they ain't there yet. When you're making Superman, you're Clark, first season of Smallville, and that ain't bad, all right? But when the combat comes up, we get the idea, and it's really easy to jump away from the page and think back into our context, our concept of the silver bullet killing blow, okay? We want to be One Punch Man, or we want to be a one-man army, all right? And if you've got a good DM, this is a totally natural place to be, all right? You are totally invested in the story, right? And when you are invested in this story, you're like, dude, you're in the moment. the GM says those words, those two words, roll initiative, and your heart swells. You're like, yeah, this is what I'm trying to get into right now. I'm tired of this diplomacy. And the question is, are you going in like, I will destroy you all, for I am Adeptus Custodius and I'm mixing my metaphor? Or are you going Leroy Jenkins this? Well, chances are your last name is Jenkins, because when we create our characters and they're not for direct combat, what do we do? What do we do? How do we swing that, But I've got some good news, okay? And I mean this. It's really, really good news. Combat in D&D is not that complicated. It really isn't. It doesn't matter how complex and nitpicky and munchkin-y a lot of people want to make it. All right. Combat consists of a few things across the board. Now, we talked about action economy, and let me see if I can find that chart. Pretty sure it's in the Discord server. But yeah, when we got our combat thing going, we've got, of course, our actions, and that's pretty much says what we can do. Now, in Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition, we've got serious talk. We've got 6 seconds to do whatever it is we gonna do. All right, 6 seconds. And that really isn't a lot. All right. One of the things that I like to always remind people when they're playing a game is the amount of time it takes to describe what you're doing is a lot more time than it takes to actually do it. This is why this is how I can totally be shown as an old man. All right, I'm an old man. I'm just so old. And what do I mean that? I'm that guy. Okay, and when I say I'm that guy, I call over texting, because real talk, I don't like it at all. Don't like having to take 5 minutes to tippity tap something that I can say in half a second. So that is and that's what we're looking at. Now, how is this relevant to how is this relevant to playing them dungeons and them dragons, you might ask? Well, a player round in character, okay? It may take an hour on the table with the rerolls and the hold up. Well, I was thinking, hang on, let's huddle up, let's plan, right? That could take a half hour to an hour. I've seen it take entire game sessions. I really have. And we're talking 3 to 4 hours. 3 to 4 hours for these 15th level characters to go through their whole character sheet to see what they can do, what they can't do, and they want to make all the right moves, so they spend a lot of time almost like in a chess game with themselves. Okay. Now, let's take a look at action economy. All right. What can you do? Well, we've got movement throughout your turn. All right. You get a move action. You get an interaction. Okay. As in speak a short phrase, do an act like draw your weapon. Okay. Or open a door or kick in a door, or drop something. That's a really big thing. Dropping is real. All right. And then you can perform an action. And these are all big examples of actions. Attack, cast a spell, dash, disengage. Dodge is a great action. I'm a big fan of it. You can dash, you can disengage, you can dodge, you can help. I'm helping you. I'm helping. Likey. You can hide, you know. Oh, nope, sorry. No, you're fighting a ghost because I'm dead. You know, you can ready, and we'll get into readied actions later on in this episode. You can also search or use an object. And of course, you can do an action ability. Now, these are all the actions, okay? These are all actions that you get. So you can move, you can do an enter action, you can do an actual action, you can get a bonus action, all right? And bonus action is an interesting thing. Now, in 5th edition, there are a lot of things that say this takes a bonus action, this does not take a bonus action. And that's a really useful thing. All right. Took me a little while to wrap my head around it. All right. And then outside of the bonus action, all right, now what can you do? You can cast a spell or a cantrip. All right. Now, what is known in 5th edition is that you cannot cast two slotted spells in one round. Okay. You can't do that. Why can't you do it? Well, I'm supposed to be a phenomenally cosmic wizard. It breaks the game, y'all. It really breaks the game. You can do an offhand weapon attack, you know, and that will come with a pseudo penalty unless you have the two-handed fighting feat. And of course, a class ability, grant a bardic inspiration, go into rage, adamantian rage. Or use your second wind if you're a fighter, you know. And then there's the stuff that comes up on not your turn. Okay. You can get a reaction. Now, reaction is they happen on your turn. They happen on not your turn. Now, what does that mean? When you react, that is the time that you can use a readied action. Okay, look at this guy right here, right here. All right, readied action. So if you use your action to be like, nah, I'm gonna ready my action and I'm gonna wait. Think about a reaction as an interrupt. You know, an attack is declared at you and you go, haha, I use my reaction to his attack to stab him in the stomach, you know. And of course, you can do things like class abilities like deflect missiles and things like that, you know, protection, uncanny dodge, which is even more dodging, you know, and there's a lot of spells that you can use that take a reaction to cast. Okay. Now I'm going to put this chart right here in the Discord server because hang on. Action. No, I don't want it as a web file. I want it as No, I don't. I don't want that. I want save image. Nope. I want copy image. Yeah, that's what I'll do. I'll copy the image and then maybe I'll paste it somewhere. But I'll put it up in there a little bit later on. But as I was saying, you know, wow, chat, you guys aren't really talking a whole lot. I guess you guys must be having dinner or something, but I'm glad that you guys are here. So yeah. When we're using our action economy for our actions, there's a lot of things that we can do, but it comes down to what are you fighting for? What do you want out of the fight? Do you want survival? You want dominance, right? Do you want to be the one-man army? Do you want to survive? Do you not want to fight? All right. And when I say you, I'm talking, of course, about your character. There's a lot of people that make characters that are pacifists, and I never recommend a pacifist character for a beginning player. It's just the other side of the spectrum other side of the spectrum from a murder hobo if you're new to the game. And this is really, really, really important to understand. I like to always advise my new players to make sure that the reason that you're fighting is in line with your character's beliefs. Okay? There's nothing wrong with playing a character that don't like fighting in the sense of they don't start none. They don't start none. They'll finish it, but they ain't gonna start it. That ain't them. All right. And personally, I like these characters. I like those types of characters. I think that they're very, very in depth. But then I always like the characters who don't fight because they know they'll win. But let's talk about the combat. All right. We just went through that whole action. Now, let's say you're playing a bard and you put your stuff in defense. Now, a lot of people say, a lot of people look at class in the game as this is a martial class, this is a magic class, this is a support class. And I don't really like that philosophy. Okay. I really don't. Because that essentially says that every story and every setting is the same. Okay. I watched a very cool game of D&D that was nothing but bards. Nothing but bards. But if a bard is a support class, who's in the front line if everybody is just supporting each other? Supporting each other. All right. Now, what a lot of people often have to be reminded of is that there are other people at the table. All right. A fighter is great. In the game, Legends of Five Rings, there are two major character classes, being Samurai and Shugenja. All right. And a Shugenja is a wizard. All right. They are a wizard. They are a magic casting class that does not have a whole bunch of physical attributes. And by attributes, I mean they don't have very many talents. They've spent their lives learning the ways of spirit or time travel or mind reading or something. And they didn't spend that time training with a sword. But their bodyguard did. You know, if a fighter protects the magic user, as the magic user is doing a concentration spell to support the party, is that fighter then not a support class? You know, that's a lot to chew on. Now, a lot of you guys are probably thinking, the old man is wrong. It's all about getting in there and fighting. I want to be like One Punch Man. Okay, that's fair. That's absolutely fair. If you're new to the channel, I will tell you this. The thing that you think is playing wrong is incorrect. Okay? There's only one way to play a tabletop role-playing game incorrectly, and that is unfun. Okay? If your play style is not fun to you or sucks the fun out of the room for everyone else, that's the only way that I would ever say that you're playing incorrectly. Not every adventurer is combat. A lot of adventurers are serious explorers. A lot of them are entertainers. Some are politicians. And the cool part about tabletop RPGs is that you're making a character in a story. The reminding of each person not being the only one at the table is very important. Okay, it's very important. And a lot of people are like, I know there's other people at the table. I'm just the most important one. To you, yeah. But if everybody at the table is doing that, then you're not in a cooperative storytelling game. You are in a Joss Whedon script where everyone is tripping over everyone else for the spotlight. Okay? Now, there's a misconception in RPG combat that once the fight starts, you finish it. You finish what you start. That's what you do. He said roll initiative, and I'm going to use every single one of my turns to kill that fool. And I get it. That's a lot of escapism because you can't do that in the regular world. Okay. Yeah, the fireworks started. I'm like, what's that banging? I hope you guys can't hear that. But here are the facts, guys. Here are the facts. There is no shame in running in a fight. All right? There really isn't. You're in a combat. If you're losing, there is a great meme out there that says there are two types of and two types of parties only. There's the Fellowship of the Ring, And there's the Knights of the Round Table. So you have Pete Jackson, and we will call you the Fellowship of the Ring, and Monty Python's Run Away, Run Away. And it's a meme, but there's a little truth there. There's a lot of smoke there, but there's some fire, you know? And why is this such a thing? A lot of people get caught up in that moment. And I get it, man. Bloodthirst, fog of war. It's definitely one of those things that can keep you in it, you know? But a tabletop role-playing game is not a tabletop miniature war game, okay? It's a story first. It's not a battle first. So, let's get into a little bit of crunch, all right? There are a few support classes in Dungeons and Dragons, all right? Now, some of the support classes, well, let's face it, they're your magic classes, wizard, warlock, sorcerer, your half-cat, kind of druids, you know. And druid, I have a definite thing for. And I'll explain in just a few, all right? And then you've got your martial classes, your rangers, your monk, your fighters, and your barbarians, right? Hang on. 5e druid shape change. Druid shape change list. All right. Wild shape. Yeah, there we go. There we go. All right, that's good. That's good. Now, just kind of looking at this. Really? No. That's So what I'm pulling up right now, and I mean that right now, is are the things that you can pull up in wild shape. And this is really big. All right, this is really big because let's see here. Yep, 10 feet, flying, strength, dex, con, base attack bonus. All right. I don't even know what half of these animals are, but yeah, there is a huge chart that I'm looking at here. Let's take a look. As a druid, CR level 0s, right? Now you can do pretty much all of these things at level 1, which is kind of cool. All right, but you want to talk martial class? Well, your druid, I believe, can turn into, well, let's take a look. I'm a little chat, help me out here. On wild shape, what's the level that they can use? I'd say level 3. What is the wild shape rule is what I'm looking for. Yeah, because what I want to know, what I'm looking at is yeah, what I want to take a look at is real talk. If you've got wild shape, there we are. Thank you, Compendium. Okay, so at level 8 you can go first level, but at level 2, at second level, you can have shapes up to half. 1/2, I think. 1/2, yeah, 1/2 threat level. No, 1/4 threat level. So what can you turn into? Well, let's take a look. You can turn into a wolf, all right? With a 40 speed, a 13, what is that stat there? 13 armor class, decent amount of hit points, and what is your attack bonus? That's a really good one. As a wolf, that's 1/4 of a quarter. That's a quarter. Yeah, 1/4. So yeah, we're looking at wolf or panther. You get a +4 to your attack bonus, 13 armor class. You get 11 hit points on top of whatever hit points that you have. And that's a really big one. Like turning into a wolf, now you're a frontline fighter. You know, you can turn into a riding horse. All right, a speed of 60, 13 hit points, or you can actually roll them out to get the 2d10 plus 2 if you want, and a +5 attack bonus. You know, I don't know what a gutash is. All right, but a freaking velociraptor. Oh no, it's tiny. It's a tiny creature. But yeah, these are a lot of things that you can do when you are using wild shape as a druid. Does that mean that you are a support class? You know, that's my question on that one. You know, if you can turn into an animal and get into a fight with extra hit points and higher stats, does that make you support, or could you use that as a frontline thing? You know, the answer is yeah, sure. You know, I will tell you, being attacked by bandits and turning yourself into a freaking baboon, that'll freak them out at least. You know, and these are a lot of the things that you can do as a quote support class end quote. Giving bardic inspiration, that's a lot. Okay, it really is. There are a lot of people that make fun of it, and it doesn't seem like a lot at higher levels. But you tell me, how many times have you guys been playing a game and you biffed the roll by less than 6? You know, I know it's happened to me all the time, and the fact that you can use bardic inspiration when you don't like the roll, that's huge. All right. And as far as like things like monks with key points and things like that, that's the thing. If you want to try and make One Punch Man, there are so many videos out there that will let you do that. Okay, they'll show you how to do that. But if you take a good look at them, they'll let you get One Punch Man or Superman by level 20. What do you do at level 3? Well, hopefully, if you're in a party of 4 people or more at level 3, hitting it with your axe, casting your spells, trying to stab it with your sword, all of these things are doable. Let's take another look at this list of monsters, okay? Let's go for one of my favorite, giant spider, okay? Now, these things have 4d10 plus 4 hit points, all right? At least according to this chart. Like, we got the giant spider right here and 26 average hit points. And you're going, but I only hit for 1d6, you know? And I get you on that. I totally get you on that. Oh, wrong one. Yeah, I totally get you on that idea. All right. But let's take a good look. Hang on, guys. Wrong show. All right. So let's take a really good look at that. All right, because I want to take a good look. All right. Actually, no. If you hit 1d6 and your strength bonus is, say, let's just say 2. A strength bonus of 2. All right, you're sitting pretty on 14 strength. All right. So that's 3 points from you on a crappy roll. What else do you got? All right. So you got 3. So that's 5. That's 4 rounds of you going at it by yourself. Okay, and I really want to put that out there. By yourself. All right. If you're a bard or something and you have a strength of 1 or a dex of 2 and you're using a finesse weapon or something, those things hit for about d6. You know, some of them hit for as much as d8 or even d10. So 26 hit points isn't a lot to go through. You know, it really isn't. Let me take out some of these cards right here. Okay, I want to take a look at this. Lizard folk. Challenge rating 1/2. And at challenge rating 1/2, let's see, what are the hit points on that guy? 22. Okay, 22, 4d8 plus 4 on average. And what we got here is multi-attack, so they make 2 melee attacks with a different weapon. Their weapons being bite, heavy club, javelin, or a spike shield. All right, those are the 4. And your DM isn't going to arm them to the teeth with every single one of these weapons. They get 2, like a shield and a javelin, or a heavy club, a shield, and the bite. They always have the bite. All right, so they get those things. They can attack twice, but you, as in your entire party, it's as many attacks as there are you guys. Now this goes back to the One Punch Man, the lander of the last blow. It's great to want to be that guy. All right, it really is. I mean, that shows engagement. But the thing is, all these characters are heroes to the common folk, but they're brand new to the hero game. What does that mean? It means you're a freshman in college and everyone else is in junior high school or middle school, right? So to those middle school kids, you look amazing. You're older, you can probably play a musical instrument. You've gone through puberty. Looks like you got everything figured out. And then you look at grad students. It really is a matter of the grass is always greener. But the gamers that have the most fun, that get farthest in campaigns, are the ones that realize that everything is a group effort. My character might not land the killing blow. In fact, my characters might get injured. All right. I make a lot of wizards because I love playing wizards, and I play utility wizards. That is what I do. So chances are my firebolt or my cold bolt or whatever battle cantrip I have, that's probably not going to kill the dude outright. But you know what? I might be able to stun the dude. I might be able to take my mage hand and spend around having the mage hand set up a tripwire, and of course I can always use a help action to help out my dude that's actually fighting, because much like in Legend of Five Rings, the Shigenja crap in combat. However, they're really good at buffing the dude that isn't, and all of these things play a very crucial role. But these things are very, very overlooked because everyone wants the power and the glory forever and ever and ever. But know this, if you have a good GM, you will get your chance at the power and the glory. I promise you that. Way back in the old days in second edition, back in the days where wizards had 1d4 hit points, 1 spell a day, and there weren't really any cantrips out there, a wizard was impressive if they could stay alive until level 5. Okay, we would start off with the wizard and the fighter, and then as levels progressed, the wizard became more and more powerful and the fighter became less and less effective. Now that was balanced out a lot in 3rd edition, and WotC and of course Jeremy Crawford and his crew is doing everything that they can do to make that balanced all the way across the board, because no one wants to feel like extra weight or 3rd wheel, or 5th wheel. It all depends on what you drive. I'm a biker, so 3rd wheel. Yeah, that's kind of thing. So when it comes down to combat, now we're going to get into tactics and options for character classes for the rest of the week. Okay, that's what we're going to be getting into. We're going to go through most of the character classes and stuff like that. But one tip I can always give you is if you truly have a way of staying alive throughout the rounds, you can always help by giving advantage to the frontline fighters. Or if you're in the back, I grew up reading comic books. Okay, love comic books, love superheroes. And on any good superhero team, okay, there are 4 words that are spoken. Okay, 4 words that are spoken by every superhero team, and at least by every good superhero team. And you know what those 4 words are? Tend to the bystanders. Okay, somebody's got to rescue the people. Somebody's got to get the people out. You know, a lot of people make fun of guys like Hawkeye in the Avengers. Why is he there? They're all gods. They can do all the punchy stuff. Real talk, because somebody's got to be looking after the civilians and the morale in the middle of the fight, especially when Cap is busy punchy. You know, but I get that every player wants to feel special, and then when combat comes up, it's like, what can I do? There is an old military call called holding the line, and that is what support characters can do. You know, they can hold the line. I love casting things like firewall or ice wall. I like board control. All right. If I, as a wizard, can funnel the bad guys toward the ones who are really good at hitting, like the paladin, I have done my job. Because at the end of the day, what are we actually fighting for? And the answer to that is always up to the story. Okay? Are you in the combat to be in the combat? Or are you in the combat to get to the next part of the story, the next chapter? Are you fighting to retrieve the artifact, or to save the princess, or to save the village? You know? Are you fighting because you've been ambushed and you're just trying to get to the next village so that you can get some ale, get drunk, and sleep on something other than the ground or a rock? You know, the purpose of the fight means a lot. Now, sometimes you can talk your way out of it. Sometimes you can't. But when you can't, try to think thusly. Those guys are really good at tanking and damage. What can I do? You know, and asking that question, and really asking that question and checking your character sheet, there's a lot that's there. A whole lot. Are you the arrow support from distance? Are you the thief or the rogue that will sneak up and backstab them? Are you the wizard that will cast some sort of illusion to distract them? You know? Are you the bard that's going to sing a song and give damage bonuses to the fighters, or give inspiration to someone else with their stuff? You know, every single character class, thus every single character in a party, can have a purpose that supports the party in combat. You don't always have to be the frontline fighter. But we'll get into that a little more tomorrow. But in the meantime, I want to thank you guys for showing up. I hope this new time slot is working out pretty well for people. I want to shout out to my chat, like Zero Supa, Alien Conglomeration, Alien the Gathering, Asuka Mikasa, Elizabeth, Impossible Adventure Pub. God, he was one of the first 5 deckers, and I still can't get his name right. Ninatella, welcome. Nintendo Switch XL, Sophia Fox 21, Super 8, Xanthiads, thank you. And it's good to see you back here, Xanthiads. I'm serious about that. I think it was yesterday's show that you were saying that you were a role player and it's hard when you're with a bunch of murder hobos. So I definitely get that. And we're going to be covering this a lot more, and I mean a lot more in depth. We'll be going into I'm going to pick two character classes, and I'll probably just pick the main ones out of the book, and we will go through them alphabetically, starting with the support classes, or the non-combat oriented classes, to see the things that they can do in combat and why that's awesome. So come on back in 23 hours. Actually, you should come back tomorrow at 6:30 Pacific Standard Time, because I'll be hosting a D&D game. That will be Fantasy Tumblers, with my fairy, my Doomstalker, and my Genasi pirate. So come on in for that, and hopefully we can all have a little fun and go through a couple of things. But I'm being played off. All right. So if y'all got questions and stuff like that, I get it, because I always have questions about stuff as well. So you know what I'm gonna do with you guys? You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna give you guys an invitation. Oh, that's new. I want to give you guys an invitation to the Discord. What? Yeah, that's right. An invitation to the Discord. But there we go. Ooh. Yeah, it is right here in the chat, right there. That's what I'm gonna do there, and I'm gonna copy that, and I'm gonna put it there, and boom, paste it. All right, I want to thank you guys for showing up today and all that jazz. If you guys got any questions, like I said, send me something in the Discord. All right, and you can also, and I mean this, send me an email at backinthedeck@gmail.com. That's BACKINTHEDCK@gmail.com. You can also hit me up on Twitter and Instagram, or as I like to call them, the social media that everybody has, although everybody thinks it sucks. Twitter and Instagram at Back in the Deck. You can check out the TikTok at BidP, that's BIDPY. And if you're still part of the place where memes go to die, known as Facebook, join the group Deckers on the Book. We're there too. But in the meantime, I want you guys to think about the stuff that we can do in combat, some of the stuff that we'd like to do in combat, but we haven't quite figured out yet. And thank you guys for showing up here today at the Wizard's Tower. And if anybody tells you that you guys can't like the stuff you like or have the hobbies that you want to be involved in because of where you were born or how you were born, you can just tell them to take any of those cards and put them back in the deck. All right, this is Solar Gray, the Cinematic Sorcerer, saying thank you guys for joining me, and we will see you next time on the Dark Side of the Room.